Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Five Questions with the Paulists. The City of Angels, always a good place to be. And Father Peter Abdella finds himself there at St. Paul the Apostle in Los Angeles, where he makes his residence now, as well as serving at still UCSD, doing some stuff over there. Father Peter, how are you?
Just doing fine, Mike. It's good to see you. You look well.
Thank you. You too. And so let's just jump in. Question one, speaking of looking well, now that you have the vaccine, is there something you're just dying to do at this point?
Oh, I suppose like many of us who are vaccinated, hoping to get together with friends who are also vaccinated. I had one taste of this maybe 10 days ago with some folks in San Diego. I drove down and we were able to have dinner at their house. And that was a great reunion. Hadn't seen them in over a year. And I really felt with the catch up and everything, sort of the embrace of God and all that. I mean, it was very, it was wonderful. Lots of laughs, lots of stories. I mean, it was just great. That and theater and movies. I'm really a theater buff and I'd like to get out to the theater, but everything's closed up at the moment.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, question two, you were on campus for so long as a campus minister. What's one piece of advice that you might offer college students in post-COVID life?
I think it's the same sort of advice I would offer them before COVID. And I say that because they're young, okay? And they're going to remember this, but it's going to be 1 year, maybe year and a half out of their lifetime kind of thing. As you know from your wonderful book.
Oh, wow, look at you. You're the one who bought it.
Yeah, or stole it from the Paulist press at that point. I'll get an autograph from you at some point.
Yeah, that's right.
But one size doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you can't blanket this, but if they're interested in any way in church, I would basically say, develop your prayer life, find out how you pray best. It's not going to be the same for the person next to you. Test it out. That would be one thing. And I think the other thing is that, let me see if I have a note here about that, oh yeah, develop good friendships.
Yeah.
And I'll cite another book, which I think is a little classic, but rarely gets mentioned these days. I used it for years with, it's Touching the Holy by Robert Wicks.
Yeah.
Bob Wicks is a treasure. And I'm starting to read his Night Call right now, but on resilience and compassion and stuff. But Bob Wicks, in the latter part of that, of Touching the Holy, talks about 4 kinds of friends that one needs to take the spiritual journey. And he does the prophet, someone living an admirable, courageous life of compassion. The cheerleader, you need the cheerleader in your life, someone who just, whatever you do, I'm with you, your ally kind of thing. He uses the phrase that if someone disagrees with you, I'm going to go home right now and pray for their early happy death kind of thing. And he's facetious and he's funny and all of that. But he basically says, you need someone in your corner. The third one is a harasser, to puncture the balloon of your self-importance, which we all get into at times. And then the fourth is some kind of spiritual guide or accompaniment. And I think that, it's not just getting people who you like, it's also building in along the way some really good friendships that can do those kinds of things for you. It could be a family member. It could also be, someone you rarely interact with. But I think those 4 things are important still. If it's someone who's more adventurous and also doesn't know what they want to do with their life, my friend Pierre Riquez that I was telling you about, this priest mentor, he was Jewish by birth, then came to Catholicism and was a theologian at the council, the Vatican Council.
Yeah.
He would always tell his students that he taught at Loyola Chicago's Rome campus, travel a lot, read a lot, and fall in love a lot.
Mm.
And he didn't mean that promiscuously.
Right.
He meant it will enlarge you, it will stretch you. And he would then say, in a partisan way, you may still grow up to be and you can guess what that would be. I'm just going to say conservative.
Yeah.
But he would say, you'll be an intelligent conservative. And I think, that's the advice I would give.
Sure.
Travel a lot, read a lot, fall in love a lot. Let it stretch you.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, right? So your question 3, was there a book, a comfort food, or a movie maybe that kind of got you through this time of pandemic?
How about TV?
Yeah, sure, even better. Yeah.
I watch a lot of trash TV. I'm a night owl, so some of that happens at night. But one of the shows that's on out here on a station called Heroes and Icons, they do things like Monk and House and Jag and all those kinds of things. They also show there's an older show called Numbers.
Yes.
Which was Rob Morrow, David Krumholtz, and their father was played by Judd Hirsch. And it kind of catches my scientific side with the math kind of things, and they use math to solve issues because the older brother is an FBI leader kind of thing, and the younger son is a math whiz. So I just enjoyed that show, and also because sometimes in my early days in LA, I would be out for breakfast at like 7:30 in the morning in Westwood, and be told I couldn't cross the street because they were filming Numbers on the other side of the street, kind of thing. So yeah, that kind of got me through. I think the other thing, more cerebral, I suppose, was the documentary on the Black Church. I thought that was just terrific.
Yeah, those are both great.
And I actually emailed Professor Gates and got a response from him.
Oh, nice.
Because we're both from West Virginia.
Oh, right. So, hey, question 4, speaking of your scientific brain, you have a degree in genetic counseling, which I just think is fascinating. Were you surprised at, the mRNA? The mRNA technology's been around for about 10 years now, I guess. But were you surprised how they were able to get that into a vaccine and to get it out so quickly with Pfizer and Moderna?
I didn't know. I wasn't following it very much. Genetic counseling is more at the practical end of things than the fundamental sorts of basic research in genetics. But I was watching Christiane Amanpour one night, and she had Lawrence Wright on, who did this marvelous article in the New Yorker called The Plague Year. And it was in January, in the first week of January. And in it, he told the story that this technology had been developed by Barney Graham and others at NIH, because Fauci was his boss, had been developed for other kinds of viruses. And so when the COVID thing hit, they had that technology ready to go. And so they had tried it out on a couple of different classes of viruses or other coronaviruses. And it just fit right in, and he was fortunate enough to guess the right size of mRNA that he needed to put in there and stuff, and they guessed right. Um, and he had lots of, help with that, and there were brilliant folks working for him and stuff. But it's a great story, and that article tells that whole year in great detail, and it does it really, really well. So yeah, I was just impressed how little I knew, and then learned very quickly about that. So
yeah, no, I'm in the
I don't
same
know if that hits what you were desiring about that,
Yeah.
but that it's they they caught a break on it in some sense, because they had been doing that basic research beforehand.
Yeah.
And
I think I speak for everybody in the world when I say,
yeah,
you know, that's crazy.
And if I can put a plug in here,
Yeah,
to whoever watches this, get vaccinated.
yeah, right. Me
Get
too.
vaccinated, please. Anyway,
So question 5, you've lived in Los Angeles for a really long time now. And I would think that you from time to time encounter people in the movie industry, and they've taken such a huge hit with COVID. Do you see them making a comeback?
well, I'm probably not the person to ask that question of, but I'll take a stab at it. Someone like Tom Gibbons or Ryan Casey are far more adept at that kind of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it's never really gone away completely. And I do think it will make a comeback. It may look different, I think.
Right.
But I still believe we had a dinner table discussion about this the other night, that there's nothing like sitting in a darkened theater watching a big screen for a great story.
Yeah.
And you can get somewhat like that at home with a large, screen, but nothing like a theater. You're sitting with strangers.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
And so, yeah, I think it will. I hope they don't gouge us to death when it comes back, but
That'll be $47.95, please.
yeah, right. And I long for it myself. I don't want to. Some movies nowadays, I don't think I have to see on a big screen.
Yeah.
But lots of them I do, and I really want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are 5 questions with Father Peter Abdella of the Paulist Fathers. Father, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a real treat to get back in touch with you again and to spend some time.
My pleasure, Mike. Thanks a lot. Good luck.
Thanks. Take care.